can I ask you which is the biggest challenge that you and your team have faced during the IGLUNA 2020 mission?
Thank you, Giulio, for your question. The biggest challenge was to virtually cooperate during the COVID-19 situation with people from different fields of study.
I would say one of the most challenging aspects of the IGLUNA 2020 challenge was communicating across six institutions in 4 different countries. And we did this whole project virtually.
A lot of challenges. Team members leaving, the whole situation with the virus, a lot of sleepless nights, but we're not afraid to work more, so everything's gonna be alright at the end.
We were in February 2020 when entire lockdowns went down. We lost our lab, we lost our university, everything was closed, and we were sitting in our home thinking what to do next. And during that time, we had just finished our CDR and we had a lot of feedback and we had to work on a lot of things to improve our technology. This was one of the biggest challenges we faced in our project right now. And at this time when I'm recording this video, all of these challenges are met. I'm happy about it. But this was not an easy task. We had to bring entire lab into my room. So we have a lab I sleep in my room actually, and it's also partially lab now.
Well, I guess the biggest challenge was to find sponsors and money for the project during the COVID-19 crisis.
The biggest challenge I faced was definitely getting the system out of the campus during the COVID-19, but we successful.
The biggest challenge for me in this project was the process of finding and communicating with companies to become sponsors of our projects. Perhaps the second big challenge was the communication in the team itself. As we are more than 15 people, sometimes it was very difficult to reach an agreement of the issues that have arisen.
Another challenge we had was also to communicate between us. Sometimes it was a bit difficult for me to know what exactly the others were doing, who is responsible for what part of the project. It was learnful to communicate, of course, and to organize ourselves, but not easy.
Biggest challenge is actually right now standing in front of this camera and talk about my biggest challenges and problems I had to face. But in general, I'm very happy that I could do this project.
And when you study full-time as a student at university and you have another project beside your studies, you have to decide what you want to dedicate your time more, for your grades, for studying, or for your project. And because we were so much into our project, I think our grades suffered a little bit from school.
The biggest disappointment this year was definitely the field campaign, that it couldn't be happening in a physical way on the Pilates in Lucerne. That was a great disappointment, but I also saw it as a chance to even do a better field campaign virtually.
One of the biggest challenges we had during the project was to bring our concrete ideas, what we want to show during IGLUNA, to the documentation level, to the paper. We had to explain in detail what we want to show, what we want to do, and with all the explanations around our measurement technique.
Thanks to the experience of IGLUNA 2020, focus at each people of our team, understand which are the skills to improve in the different projects, and also how much important is design. Even though of this, we understand also how much is important to take care about the technical aspects and how it's important to really create a big network that can work together to improve this aspect.
I think the major challenge that I had to cope with this year was how iterative everything is, how every aspect that's part of the project has to be perfected over multiple iterations. And while this of course is a very nice strategy to make everything as perfect as possible, it can also make it very difficult to keep track of the current status of every different aspect, every different cog in the machine, and to keep track of if they're still compatible with each other, if it's still working as a whole.
What was the biggest challenge you faced this year? Well, I guess it just the project was like really hard to develop. I mean, in a sense that it's like a kind of new instrument that you need to make sure that it's going to work, but also there's like a lot of student documentation. You also need to prepare all these presentations. I guess the challenge was actually just to compile everything, make sure that everything works.
The biggest problem we faced, and I faced this year for the project, was the complexity of it. Our system is quite complex. We have 2 systems, and being able to put everything together was a big challenge for us.
Planning now something for the moon and not for the Earth, like usually, like just get in to do like to make a building and make the drawings for that, where you always know the conditions and everything. It was like completely new thing, and it was super exciting, like to get to know more and more about that and go deeper in details with the project, and to also grow from that.
The Swiss Space Center was nice and always helpful in terms of going forward. But when the COVID-19 hits and WHO declares it as pandemic and the whole world goes to lockdown, it was very, very difficult, especially for students like me who are living in a foreign country and in a dormitory where we had no idea if we could go back to our home country after we finish our project and after we finish the semester. So it was then it became quite hard to not see any of our classmates on a daily basis and not to have face-to-face feedback. It's then only virtual. So
for the AMPEX 20 team and its partner, it has forced to keep the project hold for weeks, having a negative impact on achieving the milestones we set as a team and those expected by IGLUNA. Luckily, all our team is healthy and we have supported each other to be able to work within the constraint that we have been facing.